Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts, Vertek and Chibi Bree, are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Let me go ahead and get the background going here. Of the Golden Feather. Today we are having a very brand new, I'm gonna change the name right now actually because I didn't change it anywhere else. We're having a new type of podcast where we bring in all of you wonderful people in our content creation area. The content creators, the regulars that join us, we're going to bring them all into a chat with us in Discord, and yeah, gonna talk some Ashes and some Ashes content.
Yeah, hopefully this picks up. We'd like to do this more in the future. I mean, we are a community-centric podcast, so we would like to bring the community in and actually chit-chat with us. And we're getting reports that you might be quiet.
I might be quiet. Uh-oh.
Yes, you may be. You may be.
I'm
not sure if I am as well, or if it's... I don't know about that. But
I think it might be. Oh, Z thinks it might be her.
Oh, you got to turn the volume up. But yeah, we'd like to get more community-centric activities going on, like people who are regulars in our stream and hang out. If they want to jump in and share their ideas, share their opinions, and chit-chat with us, why not let it happen? So we did actually get... I'm really happy with the response we got today. I know we tried this once. It was quite a while ago before we really started up very much, and we didn't get really any response at that time. So I'm really happy today that we had some people jump up and say they wanted to hop in with us.
Yeah, and without further ado, let us pull you guys in with us.
You start from the top, I'll start from the bottom.
Oh, okay, I was already grabbing. Okay, cool, here we go. Alright, we got BCG, we got Woodchip, we got Faisal, we got Elf, we got Cash Kush, and we got Makinoji joining us. How are you guys?
Hey yo.
We're well.
Glad to hear.
All the friends, well, all the audio friends anyway.
All the audio friends.
All the audio friends.
Audio friends are important though.
Audio.
And we got the rest of you guys that either can't join us in that either can't join us or can't talk with us here. So I'm trying to make sure that I get Discord chat in the right place. So forgive me while I set things up. But my question that I would like to hi Horrendous.
Oh, Horrendous! Thank you so much.
How are you? Thank you so much for the two months.
Either of what you may want to do, I'm not sure. Yeah, just mute the stream. That's probably where you're going to get your echo from. If you have that open too.
Also, was gonna say that my first question to start all of us off with is what Ashes of Creation content thing are you most excited about? Hey Z, welcome in. Because I was playing Guild Wars 2, and I was doing a thing where I was out in an area with water, and somebody who had a flying mount flew over me. And I'm hearing that, but everything over here, the audio levels are showing that it's fine. So maybe I can see what I can do. Like, this is literally as loud as I can go. So I'm not really sure what to say for that, Horrendous. I'm sorry. Maybe this helps. I don't know. But
I think yeah, if you pick your mic up a little bit, maybe aim it more directly down at you.
Like this?
Hey, or that. But yeah, outside of that, turn the background music down just the tiniest bit. It should be all right.
Again? Oof. Okay. There we go.
Sorry guys, we had to balance a whole lot of audio because of a lot of people in here, so.
Yes, lots of audio. Hey, welcome everybody. So, what thing are you guys looking forward to the most as far as something that's immersive for you? Such as when I was in Guild Wars 2 and somebody flew over me and the water kind of rippled in reaction to the flying mount passing. So what is something like that would like make you feel very immersed into the world?
I'm a housing guy.
You're a housing
So-
guy.
Housing, furniture building, furniture selling.
Oof.
Yeah,
Interior
I'm-
designer at his finest.
yeah, that's my immersion. Honestly, I do that for hours in Elder Scrolls Online if I'm not PvPing. So
Gonna be the carpenter extraordinaire.
if I can, I mean, usually I'm just like stuck to myself, just decorating different homes, and then I forget that I have a guild. Yeah.
Oh.
What about?
Okay,
mean,
wood
Mel?
chip. Sorry.
For me, it's.
Sorry, I like that you changed your name to 3 a.m. for BCG.
I mean, for me personally, what I'm really looking forward to is the impact that the player has, and by that I mean is, you have a node, you have a tiny itsy bitsy node that is all cute, a couple of tents, a couple fireplaces, and people start collecting resources around the node, cutting down trees, mining ore, and seeing that having an impact on the world. Meaning, there's a node, the node grows, it becomes a city, and seeing that the surrounding woods and everything else, the landscape changes. That's what I want to see, because in most other MMORPGs, the landscape never changes unless there's a major patch or something that is hard scripted or static and is being put in the world. Like, for example, in World of Warcraft didn't change till like Cataclysm. Then the
Wood
whole landscape
chip.
changed.
Thank you so much.
Wood chip.
That was
Oh,
so long.
Goodness.
always with the clutch subs, man.
So sweet to us.
Big money.
Aw.
So yeah,
Love you,
that's
sir.
that's at least for me.
Okay.
But yeah, that like you're talking about changing things in the atmosphere of the game based on player action. Like, that's one of my big things, but also the one I'm looking forward to is the continual seasons changing. And I'm really hoping to see these seasons changing having an impact on other stuff in the game. Like, there's in-game seasonal events, not like Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that, but in-game seasonal events that, this thing only happens in the winter and that thing only happens in the summer. This dungeon is underwater, so the water is frozen during winter and it just starts to thaw in spring, and it gets the most dangerous in summer after everything really wakes up. Like that to me would be one of the most immersive things that they could do if they get that weather system to be that impactful on everything going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and this is taking everything that was ever said about Ashes in consideration. I think one of the big aspects that a lot of people are starting to like or did already like in the past is that the world of Bever as Ashes creation, the game, that it's not a static world. It is something that changes based on what the players do. And that has not been done ever. It has been done in like survival games like Ark Survival Evolved, landscape changes, tree changes, the how things grow depending on where the player puts up the base, but it has never been done in an MMORPG. That's so immersive that I think that's like one of the it's freaking awesome. Put it that.
The biggest draws has been that the idea of what you do actually affects what's around you, and that you have influence on where you live or where you go.
I like that last part you mentioned, where you live, because say you're someone who just wants to have a freehold next to a mountain, but you can't really be next to this mountain because you got to be afraid of avalanches or certain mobs that'll come down and like maybe eat you. I don't know. It's one of those things, and it goes back to my love for housing. Is I love to just plop down in an area that that is beautiful and scenic, but also provides some sort of monetization. Like there's some ore like a few yards or whatever away from my freehold that I can casually go to every day, right outside my door. So that aspect of where you're going to live in Ashes is very, very intriguing to me.
And plus, speaking about monetization, what I like about Ashes' creation is that all the resources are very scarce, and they're going to change supposedly from area to area. And instead of making a global auction house, it's going to be very local and centralized. So trading is also going to be very important. Communicating with other people from different towns is going to be very important as well. So I'm very excited about that.
I think they had
One
mentioned. Sorry, go ahead.
Be one thing that we're excited about.
I mean, I'm excited about multiple things, but they mentioned everything else.
Yeah. Like to piggyback off what Faisal, I can never say your name. Faisal. What you said
Bagel.
about the okay.
Now
had mentioned, we're gonna have this one like I forgot my thought, but I'm they had mentioned about the economy being static. So say you set up a freehold between two borders of a node of area of influence, and your freehold is in the in one. Obviously, you're going to be in one zone of an economic. Say this node has a thriving economy, but like across that mountain that you're living, the other node economy is kind of like garbage. So you could potentially start a monopoly with other people who have their freeholds along that border, and kind of monopolize your trading routes for other players to come through and share their goods as well. That's another aspect that I'm very, very excited for.
Yeah,
if I made any sense.
How interesting would it be to have like some kind of a crafter or trader alliance where like the major trade routes, they literally all drop their freeholds right along the path. So they'll be sitting at home crafting whatever, and then when a caravan comes around, they just check the box for defend and just keep an eye out their back door while they're crafting, like make sure the caravan's passing by okay. But they're just sitting in their house just crafting away, just all right, looks good, smack, smack, smack. Looks good, smack, smack. Oh, it's being attacked. You set my anvil down for a moment and run out there and start killing whoever's attacking it.
Yeah, for sure. And also for those guilds who are wanting to attack, or those mercenaries who are wanting to attack the caravans, they could potentially find those routes, caravan routes, and set up their freeholds along those ley lines and sort of just wait it out in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason, Maki, I imagine you. I just had the thought pop into my mind of you just packing up your house and taking it wherever the trees are, and just completely like strip lumbering the whole place.
No.
Like wipe out a forest, pack up your house, and move to the next forest.
No. It's not a house. My freehold will specifically be for my harem. Okay.
Nice.
And I'll set it up, along the routes, so people are traveling, they can stop in and get a warm meal.
Hey, I'm just saying, you gotta get the money for new axes somehow.
Are you talking about opening a brothel?
No, we don't call it that.
For
tax purposes.
Okay, I got you.
You serve a different clientele, okay?
Yeah,
a little bit more
feel like,
sophisticated.
What's the tavern in Goldshire in World of Warcraft?
I don't know.
Oh, I forget the tavern name.
Yeah, but you know what I'm going with, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think anything making no cheese freehold is kind of similar to that.
Oh my god. Lion's Den?
Lion's Den.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Esther.
I experienced some R-rated stuff in that thing.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I do have
speaking
a
of
name,
stuff
though,
for
I have
Ashes of Creed.
several names. One of them is the Screaming Hag.
Oh my god.
Hag. All
Or the
right.
Wailing Hag.
Okay, let's move on.
Somebody's a little red-faced. Somebody's getting a little bit
What?
shy.
Why would you?
Hey, this is
You
all
guys are
impromptu,
so mean.
so I'm just spewing out whatever.
Tavern of Warm Hugs. Thank you, ALO. Thank you.
There you go.
But so Vertec found a few videos that he wanted to talk about today. I don't have a thing in front of me, so.
I mean, there were really just more of some content creators that were covering it. Not sure. I'm sure you guys bumped into the Lazy Peon did a video on it.
Yes.
But also, interestingly enough, I thought it was kind of funny. Asmongold made a video reacting to Lazy Peon's video, reacting to the live stream of Ashes of Creation. And I don't know. It kind of made me smile a little bit that Ashes is getting a little bit of attention from some of the big streamers, just kind of accidentally, it seemed like, because that really wasn't like they had given him free stuff to stream the BR or whatever, as much as he just kind of bumped into Lazy Peon's thing and said, let's check this out, let's see what's going on, and catching up on the game.
I mean, it's not the first time Asmongold looked at Ashes of Creation. Like he looked at Ashes of Creation when they did the video for the BR, and he didn't know if it was like, he said his opinions about it, but he said like, I don't know. He said like, I don't know if this is going to be good or bad, because it's very early to tell.
He also made a reaction when they showed off the first dungeon way back in the day, and his reaction at that point wasn't overly like positive. And I mean, people like the big content creators in the MMORPG genre, they're gonna cover games one way or another. They're gonna play them one way or another. Especially like, I think Asmongold is definitely gonna play and try out any fantasy MMORPG that comes from a Western studio. I don't see him playing and talking about a lot of like Eastern MMORPGs. So that was definitely gonna happen. I mean, you had people like Shroud, Lyric playing the BR. Lazy Peon already has a strong foot in the community. He's covering the game as soon as something comes out. He has a good relation.
Honestly, he's also how I heard about Ashes in the first place.
So I mean, it is always good to have people like that, covering the game. That's always a good sign that there's an interest and they can bring their communities. Their community is going to tell their friends. So it is good for the game.
Yeah, and he had some good criticisms on that too. But even like he said, it kind of ties into what you were mentioning, that of course he's going to pick it up and play it, because as he said, if you're playing MMOs and you're streaming MMOs, and that's what you are as a content creator, as an MMO player, you kind of have to ride the hype train on whatever new thing is coming out, and people are hyped about it. You have to cover it. If it's junk, it's junk. At least it gets you a couple days worth of content, and that's the best case scenario with a lot of them coming out. So I mean, that totally makes sense. Like Woodchip said, though, I watched Skyland's video, and it did seem like he was just kind of like he skimmed through it, I want to say, because he would mention some things that were definitely covered in the video, and he said they didn't really say anything about this, or they didn't cover this well, or what have you. It was definitely in there. And they would explain how this would work, and he was like, well, they weren't really clear about that. No, it was really clear. It wasn't all in one spot. It was throughout the whole thing. Yeah. So it did seem like he was just like, he skimmed through it, he caught some of it, and had to push out a video real quick. So boop, dropped it.
So I feel like something these days that is a must for people like Peon and other larger MMORPG related YouTube channels. I think it's always a good thing to have a direct contact with them and have them like sit down with, I don't know, Steven or Maggie and like explain what's going on and explain, how the game's supposed to work. So they have somebody they can, ask stuff instead of having people, just play the games without having like a source to ask questions, and they're just going to do the first impression stuff. Especially news channels, it's always good to have like, hey, you guys want to maybe sit down and, ask us questions or play the game with us. Even maybe reach out to Asmongold himself and, have like, hey, you want to talk about the game? We saw that you were reacting to a video and, you seemed to be interested. Instead of having like content creators, and I'm not going to name anybody, play the game and, do their thing and talk bad about a game, even though they don't know everything about the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always makes me sad when obviously everyone in this chat is here for the long haul, hopefully. And we've seen the ups and downs of this community, and like we poured our heart, sometimes our tears.
There were no downs ever. I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, it is it's very disheartening to see these bigger streamers, YouTubers just put out 1 or 2 videos and potentially either are indifferent about the game because they don't know enough information or haven't researched it enough, or they're just all around giving out bad information.
Can I share my personal opinion on that without getting like shot in the face?
How about the foot? maybe the foot.
That's very hard to avoid.
Maybe the foot.
Some might not know this. I used to work in the gaming industry. I used to have a job similar to what Maggie does right now. And it is, like I said, from a marketing point of view, it's always good to have these direct contacts, and share your content and give content creators as much information as possible, and have them ask you questions. So, you are on one line with the content creator and you have more influence over them when they're putting out content, especially for MMORPGs. Like, there's so many news channels that they would die to sit down with Maggie or Steven. They would literally die and just for a chance to do that. On a personal level, me personally, I don't give a rat's ass what any of these content creators, any of these YouTubers say about games. Here's my point of view. They do not work on the game. They never like released the game. They never, made an MMORPG. So they have the same background as any other MMORPG player ever. The only difference is they have a YouTube channel. And that's something that I always keep in mind. And I feel like it's getting out of hands these days.
Waylo says you live today.
Yeah, I mean, along what Waylo was saying, like I like to listen to other people's opinions, mainly just because I like to make sure that I'm not just following something blindly. Like I'm not going to be the blind white knight that completely ignores all the faults and cracks and crevices along the way. But at the same time, I'm not going to let what they have to say really influence me so much as just give me information to think about and make my own opinion. I'm not going to let their opinion influence mine. Their opinions and their attention to details that I may have missed will certainly go into the pile of info that I'm looking at. And for the other thing is, when testing really starts, something they noticed that I didn't may be something that I want to focus on trying to test out and bug report on and stuff like that, so that they know it's a big issue.
Yeah.
You see, I wish that every gamer would think this way, but I watch, again, I'm not going to name any content creators, but there's a couple of videos coming to mind where they talk like bad about a game, like it's literally complete and utter trash. And on the other hand, I know there's like hundreds of thousands of people that enjoy the game. And then I read the comment section below the video, and where it's like, oh, I agree with you, this game is trash. Dude, thank you for telling me I was about to buy this game. And I'm like, seriously, is everybody a drone now?
Yeah, there are many drones.
They're called cheap. When one says ba, the rest of their head says ba.
Yeah. To be honest and to be fair, like that is kind of in a lot of just the human mindset, I guess, is if they're not a leader, then they want to be told where to go and what to do, to varying degrees. Like some people definitely want to think on their own, but they want to hear what everybody thinks about it so they can form their own opinion. But other people just they want the quick cut to the end. Tell me the end of the movie so I know whether I should watch it or not.
Yeah.
I also really like what Cheryl's just said. Cheryl said there's a bit of echo chamber in comments of any YouTuber. And I think the reason why I kind of agree and like what they said is because, and kind of like us, take us for an example, we attract like-minded people in general. So if we tend to like certain things, our followers tend to like certain things, kind of. Like, for example, I like cosplay. A lot of my followers like cosplay. They follow me because I do cosplay. Like, it just, there's like an echo kind of there. So I feel like this is true, like, to an extent with anybody who has a following at all. Because if Vertec and I were to do with Alpha 1, we're like, guys, this, I don't know. I don't think it's ready. Like, you guys would take that true with a grain of sand, but also like, oh, well, if they say it's not ready, I don't know. Maybe it's not ready. You know, it's just, I feel like on that same token, it's kind of up to the person who's making the videos to be like true and honest with what they feel. Because we are responsible for changing your viewpoint to an extent, or even at all.
Unfortunately, with like some of the bigger names though comes along, without getting too deep into like psychology and whatnot. There's also such a thing as confirmation bias. You already have your opinion. You look for somebody who has a confirming opinion to say, look, I'm not the only one. They think so too. Oh, look, they have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, so they must have a good opinion because everybody likes them. And then suddenly them looking for someone to confirm their idea on something turns into, that person has all of my ideas. They think exactly like I do, and they just believe whatever they say.
Yeah. And that's kind of the point that I was going to, but also that I feel like going back to like our old like general conversation that we've had as far as whose responsibility is it within the content creation community for Ashes of Creation, as far as like it is up to us content creators to make sure that we are giving out accurate informations. It just, I feel like that would help not only clear out confusion, but also show that like we are the ones that are closer to the actual community of Ashes of Creation, and we have been for a while, so we can probably clarify on some things that an outsider who's just joined probably won't have information on.
Right. And we all get it wrong. We all are going to get something wrong at some point. Even, people who make videos for Ashes, who put out very informative videos, they get stuff wrong, but they also they have to take that into account and call themselves out, like, hey, I messed up, I made a mistake, da-da-da-da, this is misinformation, and clear it up before it, spirals out of control.
Exactly, I agree.
I want Intrepid to invite Peon to do another playthrough. I think that would go a long way, seeing somebody that doesn't work for Intrepid Studio, somebody that is well known for MMORPG content, to sit down and play through, I don't know, a dungeon something with Steven and Maggie, instead of them just doing it by themselves.
Yeah.
Because I think that would go a long way with, people's, maybe distrust or worry about something. Having somebody that is not in any way bound to Intrepid Studio as an employee to go through something that other people would experience later on in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
I think it'd also be kind of cool because there's been questions in the live stream Q&A of, or even just suggestions of the Intrepid staff actually doing live playthroughs of themselves with the alpha content and such like that. Because really at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones way more geared up, I guess, to answer questions than, say, I or Vertec would be. Just because they work closely with it, they have all of the, like, I'm sure they answer the same questions over and over, so they're, like, already used to just, like, the, I guess, mundane common questions that some other people get a little, like, frustrated with hearing over and over and over. But, I mean, to that, I have the answer of, hey, if you are streaming Ashes of Creation and you are newer, make sure to do a FAQ in your bio. Just say, hey, these are the most frequently asked questions. Here's the answers to them. And if you want more information, here's the link to the wiki. Here's the link to the Discord where you can ask yourself. Here's this, here's that,
That's what Toast does every month with the discussion question for the live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of directs everyone with the simpler questions before even bringing it up to the stream.
Yeah.
I like that she does that. I think it's a great service.
Yeah, plus, I mean, if it allows those questions to be answered and new questions to actually get light. I think instead of some of us who are like watching, like, this question's already been asked, why are they answering it again? Like, I'm sitting here excited, waiting for a new question. So I think it's like a good twofold. They get the information they need. That did.
It did?
I'm asking.
I don't know. I'm asking. I said, has that happened recently?
I don't
Okay,
know.
now I'm asking.
I mean,
What's happening?
I'm asking.
I like.
What are we asking?
What are you
I
asking?
really do like the Q&As because once in a while, something interesting comes through. But I just feel like after we've been asking questions for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Are you okay, Chippy?
Yeah, I'm just dying of laughter over here. I'm okay.
Minorly broken. That's fine.
Everybody's asking now.
Yeah, I agree with you, BCG. The community has brought out some infographics. I can't even talk. Some infographics recently. Revuta, I think it was.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Everybody.
They should really pin that to like the official front page.
I think so too, because he did a great job on working on that.
Yeah,
Which
like
actually,
it's like you want to know information. Here you go, splat right in your face.
right?
Yes.
Actually, speaking of which,
Waiting intensifies.
yeah, I'm gonna see if I can
Also
get
waiting
the
for that.
link out
He's
here.
like, wait for it. I'm like, waiting.
Do you guys remember? I think it was a video they did for PAX where Steven explained stuff. There was a video that
videos of him explaining stuff.
well, there was a certain video he did for PAX alone where he explained, I think like how stuff was gonna work or what are you gonna do. I don't remember when it was.
Like the roundup video you're talking about, where you condense all 3 days into one.
No. It was something else. It was. I'm gonna look for it. But anyways, what they should do is put Steve in front of a camera and just do like a 50-minute lineup of the most frequent asked questions. Is this pay to win? Is this free to play? Will this have action comp? Stuff that it's always getting at. And I think that having that exactly. No, it's not the panel. No, not the panel. Not the panel. I'm gonna look for it.
Okay.
But having that, and that way, we can always, as soon as somebody new comes in the Discord, it's like, hey, I have a question. It's like, nope, video.
Here you go. Watch this.
Before you ask anything, yes.
You mean the PAX West free alpha tutorial?
Yes, something with tutorial.
Oh, could you imagine if they did like a super fast like?
Yeah, like boom, boom.
Yeah, if you catch a question you really want to know the answer to, like as soon as you see it, like just pause the video, read the question, then you hear his answer, just like bam, bam, bam. Like it shows the question long enough for him to say yes,
yes,
no, yes,
exactly.
no.
Something like that, like quick fire, rapid fire question. Boom, boom.
When it's ready, we're not trying to rush it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but knowing Steven, you know how his answers are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One word can mean different meanings.
Yeah, that would be a really long video.
Yeah. You could probably get sidetracked and explain it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you drop leaks every now and then. Like, wait,
Oops,
I wasn't supposed
dang
to say
it.
that. Oops.
That's
what?
Ignore that. Ignore me.
Maybe Steven doesn't have to do it. I mean, right now I think like any content creator could do this. I mean, I could do this probably tomorrow.
Do it.
Yeah, just gather up all the
BCG,
FAQs, like literally the
You heard it
frequently
here,
asked
guys.
questions.
BCG is gonna put the
Hey.
video together.
Tomorrow's Mother's Day. I'm gonna eat cake.
Gonna make the
should do it,
mother
but add a
of all
soundboard.
FAQ videos.
I'm gonna eat cake.
Don't just put it as your opinion. Actually, get the soundboard or the sound clip or the Discord link of him doing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Go
Which
for it.
says
I'll
go
watch.
for it. Yeah.
Jinx.
I think Jalon should do that.
You know,
I
you
think Jalon
can
would be
take
way better fit.
you
Oh,
can
yeah,
take
like-
little sound bites, and every time somebody asks those questions, you just link the sound bite so they
Oh,
keep giving it as an
You know how much work that would be finding all that?
Also, all the clay that Z would have to go through.
Oh yeah, no thank you.
There you go. Oh, hey, Leverage.
Hey,
How you doing?
Leverage. Welcome in.
But yeah, there you go. Z.
Guys,
Chip has a
I'm looking at
proposal
the
for you.
old.
Come here, hold
looking
the
at
yes no
all
sign.
What's up,
I'm
Basil?
looking at all the old videos, and the faces and all the animations are pretty creepy.
Yeah,
they
they've
are.
come
Yeah,
a
they are.
long way. I'm really
Yeah.
impressed, honestly.
Yeah, there you go. Z, get a hold of Jalan. Have him make the video, and you can do all the claymation with a Steven face answering the questions.
Oh yeah, there you
Jeez.
go.
Oh no.
That would
Next to the
probably
content.
get all of the shares. All of the shares.
Hell yeah!
I'm on it.
A claymation video? Oh geez, that sounds like a forever long thing.
Well, you could have the actually, you know, you could even have the courier off on the side doing like sign language.
What?
But it'd have to be British Sign Language, not American Sign Language. So
There's the difference.
yes, there is.
I
Apparently,
honestly didn't know.
I don't know.
Sign language is not an international language. The same. Yes.
Womp womp womp. Well, yeah, I figured those that speak different languages completely, but at least some form of English being the same. I figured it would have been roughly close. American is just the middle finger. I mean, we also have the trigger finger. Just saying.
Yeah, just saying.
Oh yeah, but no, like, what? Does anybody else have anything like interesting that has popped into their view here lately that they haven't been able to really get any discussions about?
Let me see.
DPS meters.
Just
No,
the
okay, no, we're not talking about no. You know what is worse? You know what is really like kind of like scaring me at this point? So for I don't know how many years, and I think some people will still remember this. You know, when they were talking about something on the Discord, I always wrote, so how about those DPS meters? You know, just as like, you know, a meme, as a joke, you know? And then somebody, I don't know, like a couple, I don't know when, started a topic on the forums, and that thing is still going.
Yep. That was like, I think the day of or the day after the live stream.
It's
Yeah.
it's like
I remember
2018,
reading it.
wasn't it?
I know, right? And it's still going. How awful.
Yeah.
That
How
one
can you
from
talk
way
about
back
DPS
when is
meters?
still going?
All
Holy
those
crap.
necro posts, like, go away.
Let me. Oh, wait, here's this. It was started. Wait, where was it? PS meters. It just
That's
had-
like that's just as controversial as the guild fair,
Oh my gosh.
I wish we would do another guild fair. I had so much fun.
or
doing
the what was it? The guild. What was that one channel on Discord? Guild something.
Diplomacy.
Guild diplomacy. Yes.
Oh my god, do not bring that up, please, no. It's been purged once, and it doesn't need to be purged again.
Well,
Control
I
Alt
for
delete that
one,
one.
I for one saw this on Twitter today, from Couch Nerd. Who,
Yeah, he's rebranding. Yes.
yes, he's rebranding, and on the screen you can see his new little like dwarf dude with the little Ash's Phoenix
Ooh, that's
thing.
nice.
It looks amazing. He
Nice.
said that the art is by Justin Wood Art, and that he's working on a graphical rebrand for Alpha 1. So I'm pretty excited.
Ooh.
I can't wait to see what he has to offer, because at one point he was the one that created some of our overlays for us, as well as the portal. Back when we had Steven on, there was that like warping portal look. He had created that for us.
Nice.
So I'm excited. He's been a part of the community for a while and kind of went quiet, and I'm really happy to see that he's coming back with a whole rebrand and everything for Alpha 1. I just can't wait.
Love that guy.
Yeah, and there's
There you
his Twitter. Thanks, BC Giant.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, we're working on some alpha stuff with him at the moment.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't wait as well. Ideally, I would like to get some emotes related, like on our stream. Get some new emotes going over here.
Yeah, I know for a while we were using his art as the background.
Yes.
Teach yourself.
Do you want to know something interesting?
That's easier said than done, BC Giant. We are both very, very busy people who barely even have time for ourselves.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. But you gotta, because honestly, since I started doing content for Ashes, I learned how to do Twitch alerts, animated, like my emojis for Discord and everything. And it's so much. As soon as it's not as hard as you think. It's not as hard. Like if you start out, just trying out stuff, and later on you can do so much. Like right now, I could literally sit down and do completely layout, overlay, and it's trust me, I want you guys to learn this stuff because I want to see what you guys come up with.
Oh, I can't art. I've tried to get people to teach me how to do art stuff, and I can't take what's in my brain and put it down on paper.
Yeah, and unless you pay me, I don't have the time. So
I can edit photos and I can manipulate the hell out of a picture to make it look different and color balance, all that fun stuff. I can do all that stuff. Photoshop is my friend. But drawing it, no, doesn't happen.
Yeah. I am actually this term I'm going full time with college, so I'm taking 2 courses in an 8-week period. So definitely have little to no time. I haven't touched a video game in like a week. So if I don't even have time for video games, I don't even have time for myself, because that is my free time right now.
Heretic.
Tolnar, burn it.
There was some people. This is an ongoing conversation in the German Ashes Discord channels. Somebody came up with the idea of me doing like a German version of the discussion round, and I'm like, I kind of like, I don't know, I don't think that's a good idea.
Why so?
How do I put this the best way without sounding racist?
Oh no.
I'm not gonna continue. Just wanna, never mind. Just forget what I said.
Yeah. So conversations go a different direction that probably would not be.
Yeah, let's talk about something else.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh man. Vin Diesel looks like our current cosmetics.
I'm reading chat. Somebody mentioned Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, horrendous. I thought it was funny the way Vin Diesel looked like our current cosmetics. Google, I guess with the red coming out of his chest.
Okay.
Man, I'm just saying. I hadn't seen anything about Bloodshot in years, and just out of nowhere I saw a movie poster. Like, who even brought that movie up? Like, Bloodshot hasn't been a thing for a long time.
Look, man, I gave up when Vin Diesel made the car explode to make it go faster, okay?
I really do love cosmetics. I really do. It's just something happened earlier this year in January. A lot everybody that has some digital good outside the US, outside Europe, they now have to add what's called the VAT tax, and that increased a lot of the prices for people that live within Europe that buy from the Intrepid store, not the my.com store. And because I really would like to buy the current cosmetics, I really do. And so, because I really want the wolf. But I want everything.
Wow. Surprised they haven't found a way to get around that just yet. Like, not like illegally get around it, but like there has to be some form of way to, like, I don't know, incorporate over in Europe somewhere as well.
It would be easier. Okay, so the way I think the way it works is, for example, let's take Blizzard, right?
Mhm.
They offer their cosmetics worldwide, and they can do that because in every region they sell their goods. They have, like Blizzard headquarters, Europe, Blizzard headquarters, Russia, Blizzard headquarters, Asia. So they can offer their goods in the in those regions. The problem that Intrepid currently has, I don't see it really as a problem. It's just it's not the time yet. Is a lot of people when they started, they bought everything from the Intrepid store, but we still are not able to transfer everything, our accounts, over to my.com. So there's that whole issue where we don't have a lot of information because.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I mean, I know they're having issues with selling things. Mackie. So you mean useless? No, I'm just kidding. That's a whole other topic, whole other conversation, whole other genre. But yeah, I mean, I know that's why they kind of took down the whole like apparel and prints and such, because they're having issues with that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm excited.
What do you mean?
Well, I'd ask them if they're gonna sell more of the like shirts and sweatshirts that they had before, and they said they're trying to figure out like all of that issue because of the EU side of things.
Yeah, I mean, here's hoping it works out all right, because to be honest, there's been some cosmetics that I've missed out on just because of timing or whatever, but it would be terrible if I was staring at the cosmetics like, I really want to buy that, but I don't want to spend, $300 to get the same thing that somebody else can pay $100 to get.
Yeah.
True.
But I mean, I'm hoping that I was looking for more hoodies too, because I put a hole in mine. I've had it for so long.
I want one of the red hats, just saying.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited all in all for Ashes to kind of go forward with the Alpha 1 testing. I know Mackie is super excited for housing and such. But I was just kind of curious, and I'm sure this has been like regurgitated many times, but out of everything that's coming out of Alpha 1, what are you hoping to see or most excited to see most when you get a chance to get into Alpha 1?
Oof, that's a tough cookie.
That's a tough cookie.
Yeah, the most excited or most anticipating. I mean, for me, there's, I guess in the overall, I'm really excited to see how the nodes work. But I mean, I think that's kind of a default answer really, because that's like the biggest feature of the game that's kind of revolutionized above any other game out there. But as far as Alpha 1 goes, like truly, I guess,
Theater, you had mentioned character creation.
Yeah, I really look forward to creating the characters and how extensive it will be. Of course, in Alpha 1, it may not be that much.
Yeah. But even being able to play around with it is very exciting. Having the different options.
I just want, like, I don't know when they're going to test sieges.
I think I heard after Alpha 1.
Yeah, it's gonna be after Alpha 1.
Okay, if that's the case, then sieges out of the picture. But that's what I want most to work.
No, honestly,
because that's like one of the difficult tasks that they have to figure out.
Yeah, and I honestly can't remember if they did or did not say if maybe Castle Siege will work its way into later on in the alpha.
Yeah, I don't personally
I just know that
remember.
when they first talked about Alpha 1, they were like, yeah, Castle Sieges, and then, Alpha 1, but there's a possibility of Alpha 1 before Castle Sieges, and then they said, okay, Alpha 1's coming out. We're going to be testing it. And I can't remember if they said that they're going to be trying to work Castle Sieges in at the same time as Alpha 1 or not.
Yeah.
they said it was after.
Yeah, that's the last word that I remember for sure, is that it was going to be after, but here's hoping they bring it in and loop it in and towards the end, maybe.
As always, I think to consider for those of you who may have not been a part of an Alpha 1 before, as always, everything could change during Alpha 1. It could be a completely different Alpha 1 from when we first tested it, and it could also not really change that much except for tweaking a few minor bugs here and there. But definitely needing to make sure that we test it as much as we can, get every aspect of things tested as possible to make sure that there's little to no possibility of cheating through it or whatsoever kind of situation.
I agree with that because literally I don't really care what there will be in Alpha 1, Alpha 2. My main goal is going to be finding ways to break as much as possible.
Yeah,
Right.
and I mean, that is the main goal of an Alpha 1. Try to break the game.
Because the faster we break stuff, the faster we find bugs. The faster they can get to work. Because if we find major issues in any of the beta tests, that's gonna prolong stuff even longer. So,
Right. Yeah, make sure everybody, if you get into the alpha, make sure you're also testing out environmental bugs.
Yeah.
Because people exploit like cracks in the walls,
Oh, yeah.
blocks that are placed correctly.
Yeah, I've already told them if I don't fall through the earth at least once, or through the ground at least
like
once,
in
there's
the
something
BR.
wrong.
Right.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess I don't know. I think I'll probably have to stick to my original answer. Like, it feels like kind of a cop out because it is like the major system the entire game is going to revolve around. But I think that's probably why that's the one thing I really look forward to playing around with and experimenting with is going to be the node system. Because if the node system doesn't work and doesn't work well, then the rest
That's
of the game
whole
is going to be
basis of the
absolute
game.
garbage.
Right. That makes sense. I'm actually just kind of excited to see us questing and then like the node leveling from the outside perspective instead of being inside and then being pushed around. But I wanna like look up at one moment, look down to gather something, and then look back up and then see a whole other city there and just be like, what?
What even happened?
What even just happened? But
And then you go into a depressive fit because you go, oh man, I'm renting an apartment and prices just went up. I guarantee it.
Or maybe they went down because there's more units.
Yeah, come on now. We live in the Bay Area.
I'm
Have prices really gone down?
No.
The number of people.
No.
What stage is city election again?
I think it's like-
3, I think.
Okay.
3. Okay.
Don't listen to me. I was gonna say 5.
So will taxes just be at 0, like 1, or what before you get there? You know what I mean?
I have a feeling it's going to be nothing for the first 2 phases, just because it's still people just kind of gathering in one area, like the tent set up and random people setting up market. And then 3rd is like, all right, so I guess we're hanging out here, so somebody should be mayor, right? And then they finally set a mayor, and then whale of a mayor. But then, once mayor gets put into office, what's the first thing he does is, hey, we should have taxes, guys. So
100%.
it makes sense.
Oh my god, no.
100%
Quick,
tax.
abandon camp,
99.5.
abandon camp.
Yeah.
But,
So about that stage 2 next door, how about we go camp out there?
Burn it.
Hey, just saying, that's how ghost towns happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone got greedy. Cheap rent, high taxes, a big expensive flying mount for me.
There you go. There
Right,
you
make
go.
all these promises and none of it comes.
Right? I think people riding mules will instant targets.
Right.
There should be a ghillie suit or camouflage cosmetic.
There is. It's called hiring yourself as a bodyguard, but actually not being a bodyguard.
No. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Okay. But
We should be careful going this way. The forest looks like it could be dangerous, sir. Don't worry, I've got your back.
Going the other way.
Oh my gosh.
Will you actually be able to do that if you sign up to be a bodyguard to be able to betray? Could you actually kill them? Because, supposedly you can't kill guild members or group members or faction members. So would you even be able to do that?
Oh, I was kind of making a funny with the bodyguard thing. I don't think there's an official like bodyguard type setting
Could you
or
do that on an alt?
or whatever on the game. Yeah,
On an alt,
exactly.
maybe, right?
I plan on having some devious actions on at least one alt.
Oh, I'm
So-
scared now. Usually his
Could you tell
devious
me that
actions are
alt
towards
name so I
me.
can avoid it?
I don't think I'd go quite with the backstabbing thing, but there will be some political intrigue occurring.
Just
I
in
don't
case I need
know.
to hire
I
you
don't
for
trust
some
him because we were
jobs.
watching a scary movie the other day together, and it was getting tense, and he just like grabbed me and went, rah! I'd call that pretty backstab if you ask me.
That's what that's what guys do with their girls when they're watching scary movies. That's just the natural order of things. That's what has to happen.
That's mean.
Yeah.
But if any of you guys are going to be mercenaries, let me know so I can put your name down on a list in case I need a job that needs. to
I'm
be
certainly
done.
not going to be a mercenary. I would be the one that needs a mercenary because I would be
I'm
a
gonna
healer.
be in the bounty hunters. Like one of my characters is gonna be a bounty hunter for sure.
That'd be the couch. Sorry, dude.
Guaranteed. Yeah.
Right, Cheryl?
Well, luckily we
Alright.
were already sitting on the couch, so
Well, that'd be the floor for you then.
that just means I can lean over and go to sleep. That's
my gosh.
fine. Sleepy time is lazy time.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Any general questions
so-
you guys have for just the community?
Yeah, I have
Right.
a question for everybody in the chat. What race are you guys wanting to play?
What sort of question is this?
Tolnar.
There's only one. There's only one race somebody should play. There's only one race. Get that trash
Yeah,
out of
it's cool,
here!
What are you, a dwarf?
Jesus, all these freaking elf lovers. Orcs rule supreme. Period. There
Oh
is
my
not even a
gosh.
conversation about this. Can we change the topic? Oh, I'm getting heated already. Oh,
Oh, we-
no.
Oh, jeez.
Back.
Tolnar, all the way Tolnar.
Back.
This is a repeat question, so I can't answer it. Sorry.
Did you take the nice route out and at least post a link to the wiki where that question was answered?
Like there's a choice.
What?
No.
She said she couldn't answer because it was a repeat question, so I asked her to post the
I
link
was
to the
being
wiki.
passive.
Got it.
Live stream repeat question things. I want to be Nakua.
But just in case you
that's the
missed
first
it.
person I've heard who wants to be a Nakua.
I want to be Moana.
Look,
Moana.
I want to be a hippie dwarf, okay? I wanna
Oh,
smoke
no.
seaweed and be laying on the beach.
What, Chip? You are a regular, though. You're like the most regular.
Seriously, I don't know why.
What the heck?
We're gonna have to have some words with the Golden Feather Bot. We're gonna have to have some words with the Golden
It's
Feather
gonna go
Bot.
on. It's gonna go on timeout now.
Oof.
What class?
Oof, indeed.
Everybody in chat, what class are you in?
I haven't quite decided.
It's a
Warlock.
secret.
Warlock?
I know I'm gonna be
You're a
tank.
necro.
I just don't know what flavor of secondary. That's the part I'm stuck on.
I might go fighter.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
really
Cleric.
one of my
Healer.
potential secondaries.
I'm excited. I don't know. I just can't wait because I want to do healer, but I also would like to do like a ranger or like a because I don't know. My first ever character in World of Warcraft or like any MMORPG because I had my dad helping me was an elf ranger. So I always have to do at least one elf ranger in a game at one point.
There's maybe two elf in this channel. I think I need to leave.
Well,
Starting to feel a little
Claustrophobic?
short.
yeah.
Nah, it's more like I feel like my
Tummy
lens is
ache.
coming back up.
But I love orcs. I love orcs. My husband is going to be an orc.
You
I'm
cannot.
actually-
Listen, you cannot play an elf and say you love orcs. It's like
No, I
No,
love works though.
no, just no. You're lying.
We have-
It's
we
a
have
lie.
to break-
Either
Oh my
elves
gosh.
or orcs.
We have to break the cycle.
Oh my gosh.
Meanwhile,
Right,
Talon's
Mariner.
over here running for mayor.
Now,
I'm feeling enough.
Faisal is a
I
different story
can't
because he's
eat
a
a whole
Tolnar, you know.
I'm not a Tolnar. I just said it because I knew you don't like him.
No, I mean, honestly, everybody's like, oh yeah, Troll this. We don't know how the Trolls are gonna look. I feel like they're gonna look a lot like in Elder Scrolls, and I'm like, I don't like that.
Well, no, it's gonna look like bugbears.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Coins.
I want them to look like the Chars in Guild Wars 2.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That's what they need to look like. If they're just like humanoids with like animal heads, then I'm like, I'm out.
Or you know what? On Wildstar, the lizard race there. I forget what they were.
Yes.
Their
Yes,
name. I mean.
I don't know which ones.
It's not me. I swear it's not me.
I'm gonna play a bear.
A bear?
Yeah.
You're gonna be a furry?
I'm gonna be a furry.
So you're gonna be a Tolnar?
No, I don't think so. I don't know what I'm gonna be. We'll see.
Can I
Yeah,
just
meanwhile-
say
Gonna
I
hunt
hope
all the
that
Tolnar.
there's like bunny ears in the game.
Yes, so we can create bunny girls.
No, oh god.
Yes, I have
Gonna
to
be a
create
bunny
a
Saloon
bunny
or a
girl.
bunny
Nothing.
Tolnar.
Nothing good happens after 2 a.m. That's kind of true.
Hey, it's only 2 a.m. for you.
Only 2
3
a.m.
a.m.
I think she's calling you old.
Okay, so here's my kill list. Number 1, elves.
Rip.
Number 2, anything that represents any sort of anime characteristics, like bunny ears, fluffy tails, or anything like that.
Hey guys,
Oh
it's
my God.
confirmed. BCG hates me.
Rip.
Oof.
Rip.
You just described like 60% of the community.
Oh, 60% of the community is gonna be dead on my server.
So your number 1 is elves. Number 2 is
And
lollies.
lollies.
Number 3 is cat girls.
Those are
Like,
literally
we're
me.
totally with you for the first 2. Like
Those-
number 3.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Those are literally me. I'm 4'10".
Well,
I
you're
like
playing on the
elves.
nade server, so you're safe. So we're good.
Oh, okay, cool. Whew. I was worried for a second.
No, honestly, but nice that you bring this up. I really,
I'm going to an A.
no. I'm not going to any. I really, and this is not meant to attack or insult anyone, but I really hope that none of that, Eastern, like waifu anime stuff makes it into the game.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it
Not-
won't. It's very stylistic for, it's already stylized, and I know that they don't want to
Okay.
do anything that's not realistic, like somebody being small with a larger, sword. Although, I don't understand. How come
Yeah,
you can have a
some-
dwarf on a normal-sized horse, but not a slightly
Yeah.
larger, sword? Come on. He should at least be on a pony. A baby one.
Yeah. Give him a
Or a
pony.
step
I
stool.
mean, that makes sense to me. I mean, like in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, they were riding
Dwarf
ponies.
horse.
Like, so
yeah. Complaining about it the whole way. Oop.
let's make that a hashtag. Let's make that trending. Dwarf horse for ashes.
Right?
They do that in a lot of games where the horse or the mount levels to
Yeah.
the character's height.
Yeah.
In World of Warcraft, same thing.
And I feel like it
So
it
that'd
only makes sense because, how else is he gonna get up there? Like they said during the live stream, I actually saw that. Somebody was like, "How did the dwarf get up there? There's not even a step stool. It's literally taller than his head."
They use
There's
not
a rule of
talk about
magic
that.
where you can transport between worlds, and a dwarf teleporting to the top of a horse should not be the biggest mystery on your mind.
Right? How did we get here? Philosophy.
Philosophy.
dwarf.
Sonar slaves, obviously.
Magic.
You know what I'm a little bit disappointed in? The way the Vec look.
Yeah, I
the
just
value-
can't wait to see more, honestly.
like they're
There
stringy.
was
don't know
the-
what they look like.
no they on the latest post they made, the classes and all that stuff and the races. They made a post
Mhm.
somewhere, an official post on how everything, what are the races and the Vec and the Renkai and the Vec. We used to have, there was this screenshot, this art piece way back in the day of like a hunched over, like goblin looking kind of thing. And I always assumed those are gonna be the Vec. But now they're more like, you know, the up straight, a little bit thinner looking Renkai.
Mm.
I think it might have been a goblin.
Yeah.
From that old concept art, I think that was a goblin.
Oh yeah.
So
Had,
yeah,
it was real ugly.
not to like necessarily like continue like or completely like dismount the conversation, but I saw this dev discussion and it hasn't been brought up. I haven't really seen much talk about it. Have you guys seen it?
Probably not.
They're basically saying, should all classes be able to perform all roles expected of their archetype, or should there be a clear demarcation of different categories?
And I need someone to explain it to me because I did not understand it.
Faisal, I make it really easy.
I think
Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft.
So I think they should be able to perform their role and their archetype up to a certain point, and then that's when the class differences should pop in. Like, oh well, a fighter tank can't do this, or whatever can't do this, efficiently, because they don't have this skill or this skill.
I mean, it depends on how they want to do this, right? In my opinion, a tank cleric, which is an apostle by cleric being the main class, should not be able to be a main tank at any point. Cleric is the healer class, so it should be mostly, like just healing. While a tank cleric, which is a paladin, it's hard to make a real like choice here, because there are so many class names they have in their list. For example, paladins. In most MMORPG that I played, paladins were also able to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you want to bring back, that old MMORPG feeling, it's an RPG, and you want to make sure, you pick the class and you play that class. If you can then go around and do anything else, besides your main job, if a tank, can tank, DPS, and heal, then there is no purpose. There is no bigger thought behind you picking your class. It makes it easier. It makes the game easier because you can just always switch, and you can do pretty much everything. It's in my opinion, a tank, somebody that picks tank, should not be able to do the same damage as a DPS or the same heal as a main heal class.
Yeah,
it takes the social aspect out of the game as well, because then you don't have to go look for a healer if you can do everything yourself. And
Exactly.
That's what a lot of modern MMOs suffer from now is DPS can just pretty much straight up DPS and tank every boss, and healer is just second thought.
Yeah,
for example,
I think... Go ahead.
No,
I was going to say... Oh, thank you. I was going to say, I think it's important to have like class specializations. Things that your class can do specifically and well. I think that is supposed to be the whole draw of having said class, and I feel like furthermore there should be that same draw with going a very specific combination. I feel like it should bring some sort of uniqueness to your class, whether you're a cleric fighter or a cleric. Like, there should be something that is unique enough between a cleric fighter and cleric that should mean that it is more viable to go cleric fighter for one thing and a cleric for another. And I feel like having that line kind of deepens the roleplay element, if you will, because you are more specialized to be able to do a certain thing. Yes, as Waela just said, all classes have to feel like they have a place. And I feel like making sure that each class and class combination has that place is a very important part of even offering class combinations in the first place. If a cleric tank feels the same way as a cleric fighter, why even go one way or another? Like, they're the same.
Yeah, my views on this are... Go ahead.
There's got to be that. It goes back to risk versus reward. Say you're in a trial and you have a sort of some sort with an augment of a healer class. Maybe they're not the best healer, but they can be an off heal because they have certain debuffs and certain other heals, but it's not like this huge amount of healing, you know what I mean? But in another instance, you bring in a high priest who is a pure healer all around, and they have this amazing healing kit, but they're very squishy because they don't have enough defense, or they can't do DPS if you need DPS,
So,
you know what I mean?
One way I can see them doing this, and this is something that is probably really, really hard to do. So I'm looking right now at the Ashes Creation class list. And they, like, the base classes going down in the center, you have Weapon Master, Guardian, Assassin, Hawkeye, Archwizard, Conjurer, High Priest, and Minstrel, which are the main class, and the subclass is the same. So in theory, those classes are the main classes for, the main class. So the way they could do it, or way I think it should work, is, for example, what am I gonna pick? Okay, so let's say a high priest is cleric. So a high priest is the class that puts out the max amount of healing, right? Has the biggest heals and whatsoever. But sometimes you need you need to be mobile, or you need to fulfill a certain job besides just pumping out mass healing. So for example, if you need somebody to stand right next to your tank, you go cleric Templar, right? You're 75% cleric, and you're 25% fighter, whatever, but you don't put out even close to the amount the high priest does, but you fulfill some other job. You have, a stronger but smaller AoE heal. You have something that fits a certain role. And creating all these classes and giving all of them certain roles that another class doesn't have in the same main category, that's going to be really tricky.
Yeah.
And I think, so going back to your previous question, if every class should be able to do something, I think they're going to try to not do that, but one way or another this is going to be the case, because I'm pretty sure some guild group of people that will find out a way to be like, you know what, we don't need a tank, we're just going to go cleric tank, which is an apostle. We're going to use 2 of them, and then we're going to put in a couple other, clerics, and we're just going to completely avoid having a tank and max out our DPS that way, because we have a certain healing setup that allows us to not use tanks and therefore increase our DPS. So having that whole situation, it's hard to tell. I kind of don't want the situation where your class choice doesn't matter, because everybody can do pretty much everything, but I also don't want a situation where you need a certain setup. I want there to be, let's go into a 20-man raid, and we definitely need 2 main tanks, and some DPS, some main healing, have a certain structure, and then have little variables that you can use depending on, the encounter. Maybe one fight needs more melee DPS, another one needs more ranged DPS. It's hard.
But BCG, you're thinking about it in the classical form of MMOs, where if you do a raid, nobody's gonna come and interfere. Ashes is gonna be a lot different, since people will be able to interfere with the dungeon raid that you're doing.
Yeah. No, I'm not just talking about raids. I'm just talking in general, because, and correct me if I'm wrong, their statement was that they want to bring back classic MMORPG feeling, and I know this is something that a lot of people don't like to hear, but in an MMORPG, I pick a class, and that class has a certain job. If if I want to pick a tank, my main job is frontline, making sure nothing gets past me and attacking my group. But now, if other classes can do that as well, why pick a tank when you can have a rogue who can do the same stuff a tank does? Why even bother bringing a tank along?
And I can agree on a lot of stuff you said there, but what I was going to get into earlier is like my views. One sec. Excuse me. My views on it are kind of all over the place. I believe that whatever a class is supposed to be able to do, it should be able to do. Now, what I mean by that is cleric. Let's just say traditional cleric should be the healer, right? Just basically full-on healer. But you know what? As you said, an RPG is a certain way, but that's not necessarily the case. Even if you look at classic stuff, everyone puts their own separate spin on it. There's always something different. And a lot of the major ones that lasted the longest time, I mean, even look at Ultima Online, for crying out loud. It's been alive for like 793 years at this point. Mm-hmm. Still going strong. Or not strong, but I mean, it's still going today. But the thing I'm trying to get to is that if they want to swing out and do DPS, they shouldn't maybe be the best DPS out there, but they should be able to be viable as doing some DPS. And kind of swing a little bit, but they shouldn't be able to be a tank.
So you see, when you say viable, what do you mean by that?
So you know how you go out in a raid of like, say 10 people, let's just call it a raid of 10 people, right? And 8 of them are DPS. 2 of them are super awesome. 3 of them are pretty good, really strong players. And the rest are, they do DPS. They're viable in the role. They can accomplish a goal because you're clearing content.
Yeah.
Now, if they were, say, as bad as when you look at the point when you go through a raid and you look at games with DPS meters, and everybody's doing damage because the tanks aren't taking damage, you steamroll through the content, but the healers are still the bottom most on the damage list. No matter what, they're still the bottom most, followed up by the tanks, and then all the DPS are above them. The healer in that case is not a viable damage dealer at all.
So, if I can interject really quick, we also got to think about, like, when you say viability and performing, we have to take it also out of the dungeons and trials, the group dynamics, and we got also put ourselves into when we're doing quests, when we're in the open world, how viable are we as a player to survive, or to fight back against other players, or to defeat these mobs that I'm killing, essentially,
And that kind of feeds into what I was about to say also, is like when it comes down to leveling with a healer, like I know on the forums I typed out and I went on a long thing, like if you're going to level as a healer or a tank, like it's going to be a slower process. You just have to accept that. You have to, because at the end, when you get up to raiding and whatnot, you're going to be like the first choices to go to a raid, and then they fill the rest with DPS.
Let me just first ask 2 questions. Or just confirm, because like I said, I've been around like since the beginning, but I don't memorize everything that's said. I got stuff in the back of my head that I think is right, but I might be wrong. Did they say Holy Trinity and rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, and they did say Holy Trinity is going to be a thing, and rock, paper, scissors as far as.
So what I'm trying to say, is because, like I said, it's like 3:30 for me in the morning, so I'm a little bit tired. I might, said something wrong. But what I'm trying to say is, so you have tanks, DPS, and healers. Mm-hmm. I'm completely fine with a healer being able to do DPS, but not as much as a dedicated DPS class. For example,
I agree with that.
For example, I'm okay with a Shadow Disciple being able to do 75% DPS of any of the rogue class. Any of the rogue classes are mostly, let's say, that are not, in the Summoner, Cleric, or Bard category, they are mostly DPS. So if, for example, if a Shadow Disciple, which is Cleric Rogue, would do the exact amount of damage as Rogue, which is an assassin, I would have a problem with that.
Yeah,
because
and see,
then,
no, go ahead. Sorry.
Because at that point, because it's a cleric, he's going to be able to do some sort of healing, but he would also be able to do the same amount of damage as an assassin. At that point, the whole system is broken.
Right.
But if the Shadow Disciple would do, let's say, 75% of damage that the assassin would, and only 25% of the healing that, I don't know, a High Priest would do, that would be fine. That would be like Shadow Priest in World of Warcraft or Discipline Priest in World of Warcraft. Having that makes, but for example, the Shadow Priest or the Shadow Disciple would do something that no other class could do. Could maybe, put lifesteal on the people in his party, but no other class can do that. At that point, Shadow Disciple, because of that lifesteal buff, becomes you can pick it because it's a valuable. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a solid option for your setup.
Right.
I like what Woodchip said in the chat. If you guys haven't read it.
Yeah,
we
it was
also have
a comment
other
Steven
augments
said
as well. So we have to take into account our racial passives if we have them. Then we have the religious passives, if whatever those are, and then we have the what are those? The other like Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, all those skill lines, whatever they give us. Yeah, so we have to take into account that as well. So say a High Priest who is a cleric doesn't have as many offensive abilities can do that and augment their skills through those systems, can then have some offensive skills. They might not, like BCG said, they might not be on par with, say, a rogue or someone who has a really high DPS output, but they still are able to do the content that they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's basically where I kind of go with everything is I like having some kind of flexibility. And the reason I say that is I don't want to have 20 different characters just to be able to play all the things I want to play. Like if I want to main a healer, but I also want to, if they don't need a healer, I can kind of do some damage. I'd like to be able to spec into, like not stay in the same spec, same gear and everything, but spec into, make some adjustments and tweak around my character to be able to go and do damage instead.
I mean,
I think that would be ideal if they were to let you in your primary spec, like you're stuck in that primary archetype, but your second can be switched at any time, like out of combat between the other ones. But you'd have to be out of combat completely to be able to make the switch, kind of like the Final Fantasy system, except you're stuck in the one class role, at least the one class role you're stuck in. Your secondary you'd be able to change. That would be amazing for me. I would love that.
Yeah, I mean, also, sorry.
No, you go ahead. I talk too much.
And he's right. Vertec is right. Like your secondary will be able to be changed. So even if you're unhappy with as much damage as you're doing, or as much healing, or as whatever you're doing, and you're not happy with it, you can still experiment to get you to a point that you're happy with.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like the idea of being able to change my subclass on the fly. I don't know. It just doesn't sit with me. To be honest, I don't like Final Fantasy for its class system. I really don't, because it takes away from the MMORPG part. I don't mind you being able to change it when you go, I don't know, to a trainer or something like that. That's fine with me. That has some immersion RPG elements. But I'm pretty sure that no matter what class you pick, you're gonna have some offensive and some support and some defensive options, because I'm pretty sure the High Priest, who is gonna be probably one of the better healers, you're still gonna be able to quest with that. And even if you do, because I never played an MMORPG where you play a heal class and you just have heal ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what if the system was set up like the Final Fantasy thing, where if you pick cleric and you started off as High Priest, and you wanted to then go cleric with the fighter secondary, so you're a Templar now, but you had to start that specific spec out at level 0 or level 1, and you had to level that one spec up to practice it. So you're still putting in the same amount of time. The only difference is you don't have to use up 2 different character slots and log in and log out and log in and log out.
You see, that is personal taste. I honestly, I don't like that system. I don't, because at that point, okay, I started playing as, I don't know, what's in Final Fantasy, Dark Mage, and now I'm in max level, and now, you know what, I can just re-roll whatever I want, but I still have all the, max level stuff, I don't know, the money, the coin, the crafting abilities or whatever. But for me, like, I don't mind having like different skill trees for one character, and then that's it. I don't like having, because you see, it's personal taste. It's just, I don't.
Yeah, it is. Definitely.
I don't see you see, I like literally, I start playing one character. That character does this one thing, and he has those skills. I learn to play that character, and then if I want to play another character, I start another character, and then I do some other stuff with that character. It's the Final Fantasy stuff where you literally, in theory, you only need one character, and then at the end of the day, that character can be a tank, a DPS, and a healer. It doesn't sound really RPG kinda to me.
Have they ever said that the game is about meaningful choice? Has that ever been said?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So then why would you be able to change things? It's your choice. You need to make that choice meaningful. Then you need to stick at it, or you need to re-roll.
Well,
Right.
here's
That's why we have the base class choice. That's set in stone.
Yep.
So the secondary would make sense because you have to augment yourself if you're not satisfied with it.
Yeah, and really quick question. Didn't they also state that when it comes to skill points and all these level ups that you do, you're able to assign them however you like, but it doesn't mean that you master one class.
I mean, they said that you're gonna be able to change your subclass.
Yes.
So that is fine. I just don't like the idea of being able to do that on the fly. And I don't like
it's going to be on the fly. I think there's they talked about cooldowns and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I'd like it to be on the fly, and mainly it's this. So, how many specs? Put it that way. How many specs are there in World of Warcraft? There's what,
per
like
character?
8 classes and 3 specs. That's not even half the number of options in Ashes. If you're locked into one, and then it's going to cost a whole lot to even test out another one. That means in reality, unless you're doing nothing but testing all the different classes, which is going to eat up so much incredible amount of time, then you're really stuck on your choice is impactful, but it's like, but I really would like to try the thing, and I can't do the thing because I'm kind of locked out of all this stuff, because out of 64 classes, I chose this one, and that meaningful choice means that the other person that really liked this thing, I can't try it because I don't want to waste a lot of time on it.
I mean, but then why play an RPG?
Okay, I will say my own part in here, finally. It's all good. I mean, as I mentioned last stream, like, for one, this happens when we have this many people, and for two, I start to listen, and then I'm like, okay, well, they sound like something that's going down my alley that I was going to go down, so I want to hear where this is going. But I would say if there can be automatic respecking for the secondary, because, I mean, let's face it, the option to change your secondary should be in there. And the only reason why I say that is because in real life, if you have a specialization for your main, like, for example, I'm going to the tech field, I can change my, like, what exactly I'm specializing on the fly. I can go, oh, okay, well, I was going to go video game development, but now I just want to go web development. Like, that's still the same field in general, but it's a different specialization. And so taking that in mindset and being able to bring it into a video game, I could see you can't change up your primary on the fly. Unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately, like, I might be a little spoiled with the whole Final Fantasy. There's not a magic button just to push, but I mean, playing World of Warcraft, I'm used to that. They're called alcoholics for a reason. But, right, Z. But basically, I like the ability to change my secondary, and I think at least for Alpha 1, you should be able to have the ability to change it on the fly, only because instead of taking time away, kind of like what Tay was saying also, like, especially in this state, I don't know if there's necessarily, like, I befriended Vertec through something kind of like the battle tag. Hey, Zizab, welcome in. I haven't seen you in a long time. But, like, if I haven't seen Vertec in person and added Vertec in person, if there's a battle tag system, then that kind of eliminates one of the issues of, like, okay, well, now I have to figure out if they're even online, go up to them, be like, hey, this is Chibi Bree Cleric. I am now Chibi Bree Ranger, or something like that. But, like, so they know who I am, kind of like what Zizeb was saying. No, sorry, Zizeb, you just popped up. Kind of like Taylor was saying. Sorry, I was reading chat, and Zizeb's name popped up, so that's what went in my mind. But also, I think that being able to change the secondaries to get a good feeling on which secondary you want. Like, maybe they could do that by means of trial period. Maybe you could change your secondary, go through like a little trial, and then come back through and be like, would you like to keep your secondary? Would you like to change it and try a different secondary? Granted, you can't really do that easily. I mean, it's kind of like, how do I put it? When World of Warcraft started doing the whole insta level to max level, and you had the trial, and you could do the trial, and you can choose to continue on with that character, or you could say never mind and like change your class to do the trial with. Something like that would be nice, but again, I think Ashes is trying to go through the whole meaningful choice, don't want too many sets of armor. I don't know if that would affect your armor even, because you're going from something like a cleric to a cleric tank. It's a whole other thing. So there's a lot of these little things that, you know, go into the thought process for all of it, but at the very end, I think that allowing... I shall pop in. Yes, please do. I will bring you down. There we are. Hey, Davlos, welcome in.
Hey there, Dav.
Welcome.
But all in all, just to wrap my part up, I do feel like you should be able to change it. Is it on the fly? I don't know. Is it going to cost? I don't know. Is there going to be cooldown? Also rumored. But all in all, I think that it should be allowed instead of constantly having to create a whole nother character, level all the way up, unless you're trying to change your primary. And then I understand. And that's kind of where I stand.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea of in alpha you're able to switch it on the fly because testing.
Yeah.
But live, there should be some kind of consequence or something there to
deter you, like cost versus
deter people
like
from doing it and doing it. Like it just keeps going up, or the cooldown goes up higher and higher. Kind of like when you switch citizenships.
Yeah, but here's something to think about though, because they have said that they've made a few changes on things because that's not fun, right?
Yeah.
And in most games, you only have a choice of maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 classes, and each class does its class thing with a few sub-specs that you're gonna have a tank, but 3 different tank specs, or you're gonna have whatever, 2 different tank specs, and you can also damage or something. Now this is 64 different possible specs. Now, if you go through and it's going to be a penalty, because that's what you're really talking about it being, is a penalty for changing. A penalty to change from one to the other just to try it. I 100% agree. Once you choose your primary, it should stay that way. That's your character. Your character is a fighter, whether you like it or not now. That's it. That's all he can be.
Yeah.
But if you're going to have an actual penalty that's not simply a slight inconvenience, but an actual penalty that's deterring people on purpose from trying to change, then you're saying once you've chosen weapon master, you cannot go hunter, you cannot go spell sword, you cannot go blade caller without paying out a week's worth of questing money and 2 hours. And by the way, it's also going to be on cooldown for the next week. So now you have 64 weeks basically before you can even change to all the different specs, let alone
That's
actually
a little
level up the
extreme though
characters.
for a whole week. A whole
But-
week is a little extreme. Maybe
I
like
mean, you
a
kinda
couple,
get what I
like
mean, but
8
that's-
hours or something, you know.
Yeah.
So that
if
way
you-
people can rotate through the different subclasses without having to feel, oh, I'm stuck in this subclass.
You
but I
see,
wanna try out.
the issue that I have with all this, and this goes into the whole aspect of, again, meaningful choices that Z said earlier. Let's say, for example, I don't know, you have, I don't know, a raid, and you know the first boss has a lot of ads, and you need a lot of AOE damage. So you have all their, you know, all your DPS classes. Go outside, switch to whatever spec they have that has the most AoE damage. Go in, kill the boss, go back outside. Now the next boss needs a lot of extra healing. Now everybody is changing to a spec that has extra healing. At that point, you make the choice for your subclass completely obsolete. Why not just put everything into one class with no subclasses?
Yeah.
Because at that
Davlos.
point, you can enter a fight and only do one set number of things. You don't have access to the skills of another subclass. You
Yeah,
go
but-
into a fight and you only have access to this to make a specific kit. Like, did you play Wildstar at all?
I played Wildstar.
Okay, so
And
you
I
know how
know-
you can go from one boss fight to another and you change around your skills, but that's all you
Yeah.
have. You have 8 skills that you can mess with, and that's it.
Yeah,
But
but
it's the same kind of thing.
Don't we gonna have more skills than we can put in our skill bar?
Probably.
Anyway,
If with all the different subclasses as well, yeah, you're gonna have a plethora of skills. You're gonna have like, let's just say like 70 skills, but you're only gonna have 10 slots.
Yeah. Well, Davlos, what do you make of all of this that you've been listening? Since you just joined us, I specifically want to hear your thought.
Yeah.
So, to start with, when people were speculating there's going to be 64 different classes, I never thought it was going to be realistic. It was, in my mind, more likely going to become like a Guild Wars 1 kind of scenario where I don't know if most of you guys have played Guild Wars 1. It was one primary class, and then the so-called subclass was basically abilities from different classes. If you haven't tried it, I would say just go buy the base version for $20. There's no sub fee, and in my biased opinion, it's still better than Guild Wars 2. But
Blood.
okay. But to carry on with the Guild Wars 1 theme, where it's probably easier if people use that system of having 8 usable abilities at any point of time. I mean, something like that, where 4 of them are from the primary class and the other 4 from the secondary class, and it's probably going to be easier to balance that way if we take the long-term view. And as for switching classes out, I don't know. I have a very mixed view on things about that, because on one hand, it's a great quality of life thing. I've also played Final Fantasy 14, and I don't know, like, whoa, I have 80s in 4 different classes. I can do whatever the heck I want, but at the same time, I don't know. It ends up everything becoming dependent on just like 6 different people. You know, there's no interdependence. So I'm a little bit iffy on that.
I mean, it would be nice if, you know, Trepid does something that has not been done before. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it's going to work out. Because, you know, we do have a lot of veterans in Trepid Studio. So I think they have a good grasp on what people want and what goes well with their player base. And I'm going to leave on that because I'm falling asleep. So thanks for having me. I'm going to bed. Night, night. I'm out.
Good night.
Bye,
All
BCG.
right. Later, BCG. Thanks much for stopping by.
Bye.
So on the subject of, I can't read that name because the blue is so dark.
Brandis?
Yeah. They wonder what the race choice is going to impact crafters. And that's kind of another thing we don't really know about until we find out the racial passage. So that's a question that's been brought up, but still has never been answered.
Yeah,
Do
so
you
we're
think-
all waiting to see that one.
Do you think every race is gonna be limited to their own style of crafting?
Probably gonna have. I know they said they weren't going to give any race a foot up to do things like that, like specific jobs. Like they weren't going to give them a certain buff to that, because then that would be like sort of pay to win.
Yeah, not a buff, but like when it comes to the style of armor, the aesthetics, as you please.
Yeah, I think that's been said before. Depending on who you go to get it crafted by, that style.
Interesting.
But I could
Like,
be wrong.
so-
Don't quote me on that.
Like what you're wearing is going to be the style of whoever crafted
Like
it?
say the person
Yeah.
the person who crafted it, like, was a dwarf. That style is going to be dwarven.
I know that when you craft something, your name will be like the name of the creator of that item will be
Right.
written in that item.
Actually,
And he fix it.
something that
I think you can.
Waylo. Something Waylo just said kind of actually sparked a thought process in me. What if, because I'm obviously in the minority of wanting to be a specific kind of elf, what if I am the only elf in a town that ends up becoming, like, I don't know, dwarvish or Vec or something? And because of that, it unlocks the ability for me as an elf to learn the new, like, what the main overarching race is for the city. To learn that style of tailoring. That'd be cool.
That's actually that's very interesting. So, like, if you're a citizen of a node that's dwarven based architecture and like basically the entire city is dwarf, would she be able to unlock all the aesthetics for the dwarven styles? That's really interesting. Maybe I
That
don't know.
would
That would
be
be
an
too much work.
Huh?
Rather than
think it
just
would-
having one chest plate, you'd then have to have like a chest plate with the same stats, but for every different base.
Wait, what?
So do you not think that would be too much work? So rather than just designing one chest plate that say it has 5 intellect on it, now they've got to make that one chest plate and redesign it into each different.
Well, they're already redesigning each chest plate to be for each of the races. I'm just saying, if somebody who was born in America later on goes to grow up in another, like, country that has a different way of doing things, a different language, and etc., they would be influenced by that new place, that new country, that new whatever, and would be more exposed to those. So, like, to me, that's kind of the point that I was getting at, was it would then unlock the ability to learn the dwarven emphasis of the same stuff you're already learning, because you are one of the minorities in the town, and the whole town is dwarven with the dwarven architecture and etc. I was just saying, I think that it would be a unique stance for it, because you're not exposed to normal elven stuff.
I like that in theory, but I think executing it would kind of be
Hard.
it would be hard, because say you're the only elf, yes, but what if someone just creates an elf, comes to your city, and they find out, hey, well, she got all the styles for being the one elf, now I'm the other elf, can I get those too?
Well, I'm just saying, like, while it's in the overarching racial, as far as the tavern goes, they also said that the NPCs would also be like dwarven and all that other stuff. So I'm saying, if the main race of this village or this node is dwarven, and so everything went into dwarven architecture, that would also imply that the NPC for learning how to do tailoring recipes would be more dwarven. Would that keep people from moving to different? Sorry.
Macnodry, don't forget that every node has a limited capacity of citizens. So I I wouldn't assume like like if I made a new character and go to a new node that's full, I don't think I would get those passive abilities that would give me these type of aesthetics when it comes to crafting. So the way that they would do it is when a node has all the citizens, which is, I don't know, maybe when did they say citizenship unlocks? Was it like
3? I think.
Yeah,
the
stage
second,
3.
right? No, I don't know.
Like whatever it is, basically when they all register, they all get that passive ability. It all instantly unlocks from the system. So that's how I could imagine it being done.
Okay, that makes more sense, because then you're passively getting it as a citizen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so say I'm Johnny Joe 333 XX killer, whatever, and I log in and I'm like, oh hey, well I don't have to be a citizen of the metropolis, but their vassal node looks pretty interesting. Let me go be a citizen of that. So do I still get the passive for being in that vassal?
Well, as Ekta just said, the only thing that they could think of is maybe if you leave and move somewhere else, you lose the patterns, possibly. Because because that's like the side effect of being a citizen of that specific node is you unlock these racial I don't know what to call it, but like the different racial options for the same things. Vertex, you look like you want to talk.
Yeah, that was something that Stephen had actually mentioned and discussed before. Is some of the I think we saw them in a few of the node type reveals, like the dev diaries or whatever, where they had certain patterns for crafting things that were tied to that specific node type. And somebody asked a question in live stream saying, hey, so, or it was in Discord or something, I forget. Either way, somebody asked him like, okay, so if you learn that, do you lose it if you lose citizenship at the node? And he goes, no. So you could totally just travel from one node type to another node type to earn all the recipes. And he goes, yeah, you could totally do that.
So I wonder if that could apply with racials as well then. Just be like, my mission in this RPG is to go and collect all the different racial types, maybe. I don't know.
So then that would to me that would kind of go against their idea of having citizenship be meaningful then. Because then if I'm a crafter and I can just hop around, I'll take that penalty of being a citizen on a cooldown. Wait, my cooldown is over, go be a citizen of that node, get that racial style, drop my citizenship, and then wait till it's up, then go get another one. You know what I mean?
But there's a few things with that, though. For one,
there's no loyalty.
Oh, but there is. So for one, you can only keep a residence in.
Thank you, Woodchip. I appreciate that.
Woodchip, you're amazing. You're amazing. Yeah, you can only keep like an apartment in a node if you're a citizen. I think you can only set down your freehold if you're a citizen.
Right.
You also get higher tax rate if you're a new citizen. He didn't mention how high they are. If the mayor can set it stupid high, who knows? Or set it stupid low. But we don't know if there's other perks for being a citizen. Because I don't remember hearing anything about it until the last live stream when he said that, there's going to be a higher tax rate for new citizens. I hadn't heard about it before then.
But
so there very well could be other perks for citizenship.
But we're talking about a crafting style that's passively given as soon as you become a citizen.
I think you should be able to learn the racial skins by collecting some books or something like that, rather than visit a city and get them. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking too. Like there should be a quest associated with every town or whatever that you become a citizen of, so that way it's not just passively given to you and then I have it now, I can drop my citizenship and move on.
Yeah, and theater was also, I believe it was theater, was saying, it was Cash, the ability to study the racial types or something. But also, I just wanted to, thank you, Night Howler, I appreciate that. I also just wanted to like remind people that what we are talking about right now is purely theorycraft. So for those of you that are not following Ashes, we are just theory crafting at the moment about possibly being able to learn different racial types of crafting things. So
yeah, there's some weaving in of fact in there to support what we're talking about, but yeah, most of it's just theory at this point.
Yeah.
I wonder if they could use the library for something like that, because in Star Wars Galaxies, you could teach people things. Like I could teach you how to be a scout. So maybe if I was a dwarf and my node had dwarf architecture, and you were in the node that had elven architecture, I could come to your node and perhaps write a book and put it in your library for you to...
How cool would it be if you spec'd 100% fully into one specific craft, if you could actually unlock a skill where you could sell the recipe, like teach somebody by selling it to them a skill.
I was actually
getting some of those super hidden awesome recipes, and you made some good money off it right off the bat, and then after a couple weeks or a month, you're like, for 20,000 gold, you like, too can know this recipe.
I was actually going to say something like that based off of the scientific node. You know how they were saying like you could go out and explore and then write down like things that you learned and stuff like that. Ah, man, Daphlos, I am so sorry.
Oh, no.
But, jeez, our Nightbot hates you, apparently. We thought we, like, took care of this, but,
No, it was more of me just joking about how you must punch wood for 2 months before I teach you.
You're
there we go.
Timed out.
Oh, that's not Nightbot, Woodchip.
Yeah,
we don't use Nightbot.
Yeah, we use Phantom.
To piggyback off of Chibi's thought about the library, they're doing that with shrines in a way. If you're a part of a religious sect or organization in the game, you can build a shrine on your freehold or have it in your apartment or mansion, whatever it is. And players can come and receive that buff, and it'll be less significant if you were to visit a temple, but it's still a buff. So I could see them trying maybe to do something like Chibi said. You go to a library and kind of learn that stuff.
Yeah, and I was trying to also go down the road of like, hey, I learned this thing, so then you could put it there and. What would be kind of cool is if you could learn part of a recipe for something, and if you could only find a part of it, you could write the part that you know, and then there'd be some sort of system where somebody else finds another part of the same recipe, and it would automatically know where to go, but you could do like write into the book another part of the recipe. And eventually, like, through various people, like, they piece together a recipe kind of thing.
Yeah, someone said taverns, but also, like, on those billboards for quests and stuff, people can tag notes there as well, maybe.
Or, like, actually, on the direction where I was going with, when you become, like, a super grandmaster, all your points are spec'd into one skill, and you find a super secret recipe. How neat would it be if you could teach it, but you only taught, say, like a 20% efficiency or something? And so, like, 80% of the time, the item breaks on them until they find another grandmaster with the same recipe and learn 20% more efficiency from them.
No item breaking.
No item breaking. Oh, yeah, right?
Please no.
I've had enough of that with Animal Crossing.
Well, see, something like that, though, like, I totally agree with most of it, but at least in that situation, you know that you need to find 5 people to learn from before you can do that recipe fully.
I think that would be really cool.
If you want to try to craft it and maybe your stuff breaks with those super awesome recipes, or you just find 5 people and learn it from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
that. Would actually, you know what? That would actually be a really cool way for recipes to just kind of disappear from the game. Over the long haul, after like 3 or 4 years after a recipe is discovered and people don't go back to that area anymore, and all the people who learned it back then just stopped playing or play different characters or whatever, and just the recipes just tend to disappear.
Right.
Yeah. 6 years into a game, nobody can make it anymore, and people go to try and farm the recipe again, and they spend 3 months finding one recipe just to make it.
That
I
could
think
apply
that'd be
to
cool.
almost every artisan class, if that's the case.
Davlos.
Based on the internet, yep.
Or you pay kneecaps. Nice.
I
It's
like
just like
the BRB
people-
change of AOC name to Temnik.
And just
But,
like people who go fishing, maybe there's like a super secret fish that people can't catch, and there's a master fisherman or whatever you want to call him, who leaves the game and he doesn't spread his secrets.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, just saying, the other way you could go with it is, could be the whole,
Master fish.
after oh my god, after a certain period of time it becomes not like legend or myth, but like that like recipe that's carried on through like generations, quote unquote. This is a long time ago I learned this old secret recipe, and then like that's how like the older recipes kind of go away, and only the people that were there for them are able to remember them or something like that.
My
But yes.
great grandfather was a blacksmith.
Yeah.
Right. But I agree. And actually, on to this point, I like what Herenda said. Herenda said we need to put this up on a forum post. So, Vertec, I'm challenging you with that one, since you seem to have the forums in your palm the most of the time.
I mean, I read them a lot. I wouldn't necessarily say I have them in the palm of my hand.
I'm not sure if people pay much attention to my stuff on the forums, so there's that too. But yeah, I think final words would be one thing that you, imaginative theory crafting, to close this out, would like to see in the game. Theory craft.
Ooh. Someone brought up
Short and sweet and to the point.
Okay, interesting subject. A third gender.
Okay.
That's it.
What?
The final closing part is theory crafting or not, like mainly theory crafting. What would you like to see in Ashes that doesn't exist yet but would be cool, just as like a closing statement?
Oof.
Honestly, I would have to say that Grandmaster.
Like that?
I'd have to say for me it would be that Grandmaster recipe teaching thing, because that was something I thought of a while ago, and I figured it'd be really cool, and it just happened to work into the conversation today.
I have an answer to this.
Okay.
Ready, set, go.
Your question was, what would you like to see in game that's not already in game?
Yeah.
Z.
I want to be in game.
I knew that was coming.
I like that answer. It's cute. Davlos, Cash, Teal.
I have no opinion on it because I haven't seen what's happened.
It's just whatever, whether it's in the game or not. Theory crafting, just something you'd like to see in it.
It's a random thing. Range tanks. I don't know why I thought it was so cool, but I love the idea of range tank.
I want an EVE Online style standing system so I can know who is friendly, who is my enemy. So I don't need to look at a long list of who my enemies and allies now, because in another game that Imperium/Legacy is playing right now, we have this issue where knowing who our friends and enemies are is an extremely tedious thing.
We're all friends until we're not.
They don't do the typical like shading of the name, or is it just open? Like there's a friendly fire system. It doesn't matter who they are, you can hurt them.
Well, there is friendly fire for even your friendly guildmates. So sometimes when we are fighting alongside allies, it's very difficult to know who's friend or foe, because let's say my clan color is green. The enemy can also set their color to green. You see how things can get confusing.
Yeah. Huh,
Okay.
Basil, Cash, Elf.
What what I want is I want like forge areas or crafting areas in raids to make high end gear.
Okay.
Like make it hard for players to craft weaponry and items. Make crafters actually have influence in raids.
But it needs to work because I have a whole story
Yes.
about it not working.
Yes.
And it was horrific. And it actually screwed up the game for me for a really long time. So
I think they did say that, Waylo. Elf, Cash?
So I want to dye my gear.
Okay, cool.
So it fits me more.
Like more personalized. That'd be cool, yeah.
Yeah. Like
I'm all in for that too.
Elf?
Well, I have a couple of things. One is I would like to have the paper doll system of appearance gear like they have in EverQuest 2, where you have a separate appearance slot that just overrides what you're wearing. And I know that there are some people who don't like that because they want to be able to tell your class by looking at you, but I think that they ought to tell your class by how you behave.
Okay.
That, and I would also like a broker system instead of an auction house system, but that's just me.
Okay. Those sound very interesting. I actually like that. And Wayla seems to agree too.
Wait, hang on. Broker system as in a third party selling a stuff for you?
No, a broker system is that you put your stuff up for sale and you put a price and it just stays there and you can see what other people are selling it for and there's no time limit on it like there is an auction house.
Yeah.
And people don't bid on it. They either buy it or they don't buy it. But you can find it cheaper. You can avoid a broker fee if you go to that person's house and buy it from them directly.
Okay.
I see. Okay. You would love if I'm just saying it was exactly that way.
Yeah, that's how Ultima Online was. You could have your property and you set a guy out there and just give him some stuff at a certain price, and if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Oof, 2 hours.
Yeah, that's nice.
Market PvP.
Dark Age of Camelot also had that in their housing section, that you could have a merchant out on your porch and you put all your merchandise on your merchant and he will stand there and sell it for you. But I think we might have something like a merchant selling for you in Ashes, or at least it's been mentioned that we might have that. But it might be more Age of Wushu style selling. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well,
that's about our time today. Thank you guys so much for joining us with all of the conversations and just theory crafting and stuff like that. This will be going up on YouTube under a special different area on our YouTube. For the community conversations. So, oh my gosh, ignoring chat. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and thank you for sharing your opinions and thoughts with us. And also, you BC Giant, I know you're probably gonna see this eventually. But yeah, thank you guys for taking time out of your evening, especially 2 hours. Jeez.
Yeah,
thank you.
It was a bit of time, and the best thing about it is it didn't seem like that much time.
Yeah, right. Until my tummy was telling me that it was hungry, and then I was like, oof, time for food.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, everybody that joined us. Thank you for everybody taking your time.
Yes, and we shall. Yes, and I wanted to announce that we're not going to be here the 16th or the 23rd, but the last weekend of the month, which is the 30th, May 30th. So hopefully by then we have another live stream to cover. And yeah, aside from that, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye, everybody.
Later on.
Bye.